All right, welcome everyone to our second of 2025, the Member Success Series, Align for Success, how to grow your business and your network. And this is so exciting. So, Chuck, thanks for being here today.
Oh, I am thrilled to be here, and it's so fun. We're co-hosting again. This is rebooted from about a year and a half ago, and I think we're having even more fun this time, which is good. We're really here every week to help everyone get the most out of Alignable and to interview people who are getting the most out of it along the way, whether it's in building business, building relationships that lead to business, whether it's doing well with the contest. We're going to talk a little bit about the contest later too. But I'm just thrilled to be here with Sue.
Awesome. And Chuck is like our PR guy. We call him the contest king because this is the big contest started yesterday, which you'll hear about. And for those of you guys who don't know me, I've been a member on Alignable for more than 10 years as an actual customer, but I came on board with Alignable back in 2020, and my job is to teach people how to use Alignable, and I get to talk to our members. And over the past 4 years, I've been traveling the country in my motorhome and meeting people in person. So I've been having a ball. So today we have a couple of awesome guests that you get to hear from. And I think this is going to be fun because we've got Joe Moore here, who has been on Alignable for how long, Joe? How long have you been on here? And you'll have to unmute now since you can unmute.
About 3 years.
About 3 years. Okay, so you got here about the time things were starting to get going on Alignable, so that's
Uh,
cool.
yep.
And
Smart Connects were called Quick Connects when I
that's
started.
right.
Okay, there you go.
Wow, yeah, that was the beginning of that. And then Sunshower, we have a brand new member basically when did you join Sunshower?
Well, the first time I joined was around 2017, but
Oh.
then everything, I didn't continue. I just didn't understand it. And there certainly weren't any cool smart connects. And so I rejoined, around August this past year.
Awesome. And so the reason I brought these two people on board today, and I reached out to both of them, is Joe has found massive success on Alignable. He came in with full barrels going, and you have so many connections, and you
They're
just
still going. Yeah.
and they're still going. And it's funny because everybody seems to know Joe. Like he has made himself so visible that you just say, "Do you know Joe?" You don't even have to say his last name. People know. And then Sunshower, we're going to talk to Sunshower too, because I figured there might be a lot of you who might be new to Alignable that can hear what Sunshower has done right away to find success on Alignable. So let's start. I'll ask the first question. I'm going to pass it over to Chuck. But first, I want to talk about Joe and Sunshower. I brought them together because you guys met on Alignable, right? And Sunshower, how did it happen?
I attended a Smart Connect and I was very impressed with the things that Joe offered and then his background. I have some graphic background myself, and when I looked at the digital cowboy background, I go, I got to know this guy. So a combination of what he said and how it looked to me. And so we reached out to each other and did some one-on-ones. We've been on the phone. It's been a really great beginning of a relationship.
Awesome. And then Joe, and both of you, these two guys get on my mastermind every Friday. If you don't know about the mastermind with Sue, I started this way before I started at Alignable. And Joe and Sunshower come every single week. Sunshower's our timer. She's kind of become our resident timer. And Joe, you've run many, many of the masterminds. What can you give us some tips on the masterminds and what you guys have gotten out of that? Let's go start with Joe.
Masterminds. I think on Alignable, a lot of people show up for the Smart Connects, and I think the Smart Connects are really important and really powerful because you get that opportunity to speak to another individual for 7 minutes, really see if there's a connection, and then further that conversation by connecting. Where I really have found massive, massive value, though, is within the masterminds. Starting with Sue's and kind of learning how to be in a mastermind. And then from beyond that, getting to involved in a lot of other ones and within those masterminds, if you find the right one, your tribe, the things that can come out of it are just really incredible.
Absolutely. And if those of you who don't know what a mastermind is, I've been a member of many masterminds. Just read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. They basically say that when you get two minds and you put them together, it forms a third mind that's even more powerful. And masterminds are getting people together to solve challenges and problems and come up with ideas. So, Sunshower, what have you gotten out of the mastermind on Friday?
So much. It's really kind of hard to explain, Sue. It's a really wonderful concept where people do not come and pitch their businesses at all. It's not about that. We must all be on camera. We must all be ready to ask a question of the group. So it's like, do you have some sort of challenge in your business? Or what about Alignable? What about this part? And you can ask these questions that then we have, it's a 5-minute timer thing where you ask your question and then people in the group can raise their hand and answer your question. And I just take copious notes. It's crazy how much I've learned and how much I've grown because of the mastermind.
That's amazing. So Chuck, what is your next question for these guys? We have so much we want to talk about today.
Oh, we have so much to talk about. Wow. Okay. So I would like to ask Joe, because Joe has been around and been very active in almost everything Alignable. I think he might be even more active on Alignable than either you or me.
Maybe.
So, Joe, I wanted to ask you, since the contest kicked off yesterday and we have about 8 weeks left, what's some of your advice for people with the contest, and has it been part of what has led to your success? Tell us.
Thanks, Chuck, for asking that question. First of all, great contest. I used to run a ton of contests at USA Today, and what I love about this one is it has to be the thing that makes Alignable great is you meet with real business people, real people. And I was, to the other one, which we won't say names, but you end up getting so much of nothing out of that. They're not real conversations. And here it's a real conversation. Within those conversations, I think what happens is you only get 80 votes to give to other people. And that to me is a big deal. Those 80 people that I give those votes to, I really mean what I'm going to say behind that. And I'm really authentic in when I write those, because it does matter. And as far as the contest is concerned and what it did for me, I think the coolest thing about it was, you get a badge, and that badge is phenomenal. You get the SEO from it. But more importantly, there's this thing where people go, oh, that's a real person. That is someone that actually has given and is been open to all kinds of different individuals to have enough votes or recommendations in order to get to get that honor, right?
Right.
And I think that's what's really cool, because you get to display it, you get to talk about it, but it's not a thing that it's not like any other award that I have, in the fact that this is real people that I actually know that really voted for me, and I think that's what makes it my favorite one.
Wow. Terrific. That's great. A great perspective. I have not heard that yet, and I've been doing this contest for 6 years, but unofficially, folks, I just celebrated my 33rd anniversary doing contests.
Wow.
2 weeks ago. So I've been doing them for a long time. And this is by far my favorite, because it really does bring the people out, the human side of things. And that's what's really important. And really, celebrating small businesses. Other companies don't do it enough. I mean, they really don't. And you know what? I'm thrilled that we do, and I want us every year to celebrate even more and honor more people. So we did have, Joe, last year we had over 5,000 winners. I like having a lot of winners in contests. Okay. So we had over 5,000 winners, and they get a media kit after this that they can use, and a Swiss cheese press release we write up. They can just fill it out, send it out. I give media coaching, all of that. And people have really made the most of it. And that's really what we're here for. I'm just here. I just want to make all of you as famous as possible. And so that helps to lead to more referrals for you, more friendships, more business, more good vibes, all of that. Because you know what? That's what this is all about. So, Joe, great. Very, very personal reflection there. I love it.
Awesome. And I just saw in the chat, and I was talking to Sunshower right before this. She's new, so she hasn't got, you haven't been able to be a part of the contest yet, but people are asking what the contest is, first of all. It is you can explain what the contest is and how to get votes really quick before we keep going with.
Okay, really quick. Yes. So the contest is the local business person of the year contest, and we don't spell business person all pushed together. We have it the person separately on purpose because it's not about the business, it's about the person and how much different people on the network have helped you, whether it was a little bit of advice, you met them in a smart connect and you kicked it off and you got to know each other well, all sorts of things. They could be people you've known for 10 years or for 10 minutes, just as long as you know them well enough to write a recommendation and to give a vote. And then people build off of these relationships. So, the flip side of it is, and when Sue and I talk about it, it's also networking on steroids. Okay. Because it's basically a great way to say, hey, guess what, everybody? Whether or not you were using Alignable, this is the time. And this is the time to really experiment with it and really get into it and have fun, but also keep building each other up. It's almost like an underground movement for the entire small business ecosystem. That's also what happens here with this. And everyone starts out with 10 votes. So everyone gets 10 votes. Little insider secret, please use those 10 votes. Just casting the 10 votes, you get a community supporter badge at the end of this. So that's something that you'll have on your profile forever to help you stand out. If you win in your local area, then you get a winner's badge, and that does help you stand out too. But there are plenty of people who come in second or third, and they'll send out a release on that. They'll get something out of that too. And it really is about the networking. So many of you should have gotten an email about this yesterday. If you didn't, just send me a note at chuck@alignable.com. Just make sure in the header you're like, Chuck, need an invite or something like that. We'll figure that out. But otherwise, you can just go to your profile or to other people's profiles who search them out. And there's a box on the top right-hand side that's a little contest box. Click the vote button, write out something that's really nice about them or what you know about them, what they've done in their business, who they are, why people should refer them, any of these things, and then just hit the button and you've done a vote. There are other ways too. You'll be led to landing pages, but that's really the easiest way to do it.
Perfect. And I love what you said about networking. So I want to talk to Sunshower for a minute because she came on with all guns blazing as well, like Joe did, I guess I should say. And you've done a lot of networking, Sunshower. What are some of your success tips and why don't we do this? This would be perfect for the contest. When you're networking, like I know you go to a lot of smart connects. What is your tips for people to how to build relationships in those smart connects? I'm guessing you don't do 30-second elevator pitches.
No, I learned that quick. Not supposed to do that. You'll get kicked off. That's not good. Well, I don't know. I'm all about smiling. Okay, no matter what somebody says to me, it's like, even if it's like offensive, it's like, okay. And a term that might be good is, isn't that interesting? So, So Smart Connects, they're good because, you know, as long as you can kind of determine who is in front of you, are they smiling at you? Are they asking you anything, you know, that's that could evoke a conversation, right? And what if I ask them a question back? What kind of answers are they giving me? Are they thorough? Are they kind? Are they? So that helps me determine if I want to do a one-on-one with this person after the Smart Connect.
Yes, exactly. And you just said, you know, something, make sure it's about them, you know, talking about them. I was just doing some tips on how to get votes and how to get out there and network. And it's like that saying that Zig Ziglar, I believe it was, if you help enough other people get what they want, that's how you get what you want. So my big tip is to go, and especially if you want to get votes from people you don't know very well, do what Sunshower does. Go on Smart Connects, go to some of these different networking events and help other people and talk to them. And when you build that relationship, that's when you can give them a vote and write them a nice recommendation, and you'll most likely get one back. So
Can I just add a little bit to that then?
yeah, definitely.
So through a Smart Connect, I was interested in what a lady was talking about, and she seemed really friendly and everything. So we did a couple of one-on-ones, and we found out that some of our ancestors were from the same small town out of the capital city of Winnipeg, Manitoba, little tiny town. And we're like, really? And then we started laughing because there was a certain lingo that was said, you know, in that town. And we started imitating and just laughing hilariously. And now that lady has joined my business.
Wow, that's amazing.
Amazing.
I think that's so cool when you're networking and you find that one thing that's like a similarity or a connection that is similar, and that's amazing. That's like, what are the chances you would be in? I've heard so many stories of how people get beamed into a room and one-to-one and they have something like that, but I think that's the best one I've heard so far.
That is a zinger. And what's the name of the town? Isn't the name of the town so fun too?
It is. And you know what? My sister is on here today, so she's going to hear it and probably laugh too. The name of the small town is Beausejour,
Okay,
which I think it means like beautiful of the day or something like that.
that's
And
awesome.
in what language is it? What
Beausejour would be French, I believe.
French? That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So Joe, what's some of your success tips on when you're out there networking? What's some things, do you have a good story of somebody you met that turned into something bigger?
Do I have a good story? So there's a ton of them in the room, actually. All these beautiful souls that I know. Thank you guys for coming. I'm not going to mention all of you because there's a bunch of you. I appreciate it. Love you all. A good story. So I always start off by saying it's always about being the energy in the room. And whether you're the receptive energy or you're the engaging energy, doesn't really matter. Just understanding what you need to be in that room at that time with that person. And with that being said, when people connect with me, I always say their first name and then I put an exclamation point. And then I wait for their response to answer me and how they respond. And you can tell a lot about the person's psyche, their energy, how they feel, you know, where they're at, just by getting that response. I did this with one individual last year, and that spurred into a conversation that turned into a meeting that turned into a whole thing that we're now doing together, which is just pretty incredible to think about that. But yeah, I have all kinds of relationships like that because I'm lucky enough to get to see the beautiful people on Alignable. They are definitely out there. They're in your circles when you find your tribe. And I can't begin to tell you how amazing Alignable is in that regard when you find the people that you're really meant to hang out with and really meant to build things with.
Exactly.
I
That's
want to
amazing.
ask Joe, how big is your tribe, man? I feel like your tribe is about the size of my tribe, which could be a couple million people.
My tribe, there's a bunch of them here. We do we like to support each other, and we love the fact that we know what we do and we're good at the thing that we're good at, and so that
Right.
allows us to have those partnerships where I'm like, hey, Jeff, you need to talk to this individual. They're doing GHL. You're the guy to talk to them about that. Or Molly, this person needs a little bit of, I don't know, they need something in their life to kind of switch them. Go talk to the Oracle. Tristan Chekalowski down there. Tristan, I'm sorry I slaughtered your last name, buddy. Anybody who has anything to do with ADHD or autism or thinks in that way, that guy has the ability to talk to them and really straighten out their thought process. It's just, there's a bunch more people. I would go on forever, Chuck. I could talk about all of them that are just here in the room. I won't do that because that won't be that cool. So
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
So keeping going with that for both of you. One of the things we talked about the other day when we're getting ready for this interview is how the power of showing up, the power of becoming an expert and becoming known. Like Joe, you've become well known, and Sunshower, the short time that you've been on Alignable, people now know you. And it's because I know for a fact on my mastermind every single Friday, you raised your hand. You know, when I said, who wants to be the timer? You raise your hand. So talk about that, like what the power, we'll start with Sunshower, the power of setting yourself apart and showing up, you know, that kind of thing.
I learned this concept early on in my network marketing career. So around the year 2000, and it was always just keep showing up. Don't ever give up. You know, I'm like, okay. Because, you know, it's a tough road when you don't know what you're doing. So that has carried over. So in the business that I'm in now, I just kept showing up. And I've been asked to host many of our calls, our Zooms with our health practitioners and so forth. So it's been, it's a real growth spurt. If you go ahead and just offer yourself, it's like be transparent, just show up. If you're vulnerable and you make a mistake, it's okay. You're with your love tribe, everything's going to be fine. And it proves to be good on so many levels. One is your own leadership starts to show up. To people know and love you, and then you get to reach out to them and know and love them too. So I just love Alignable with the theme of know, like, and trust. It's huge. You wouldn't do business with somebody you didn't trust, would you?
Exactly. And you know, the other thing is you're always on camera. You always, everything that you come to, everything you attend, you're always there. You're showing your smiling face, which is my big tip. And my friend Sherry Pedrioli, many of you may know, she always says, do you show up at a networking event with a bag over your head? I don't think so. You know, and the more people see your smiling face on a screen, they're going to remember you even if you don't say a word. But did you have some more to say about that, Joe, about showing up and becoming an expert? You've kind of become a resident expert on Alignable.
I think that, first of all, I always tell people, and Sue, you already know this, and so you know that I'm not like just saying this, but when you go to Alignable, go to Sue's mastermind. Like, go see what that is about. And there's a certain custom and format to that. And when you understand the custom and format, it's fairly easy to flow into it. But then know what you do and who you do it for. And again, I'll point back at Sue, because going to that thing will make your life so much. I should have done it 3 months earlier. But going and doing that thing is really important. Sherry Pedrioli as well, in her business relationship community group too. Those things coming from the corporate mentality. So those of you that are coming from that corporate mentality, I think it's important to probably hear this. I was in corporate sales for 20 years, and as a digital strategist as well. But the whole thought process and the whole cycle and how you approach those individuals when you come here is not the way that, don't do it like I did it, which was in a very corporate manner. And it took me a long time. Sam Rafis is here too, and she was a big part of me kind of figuring this part of it out. But it takes both. You have to come at it from the point of view of gratitude. And, you know, what Sunshower said, about know, like, and trust, and that being the Alignable motto, I always tell people, read the book, The Go-Giver. It kind of gives you the right thought process. I shouldn't say the right one. It's one thought process, but for me, at least, that has been very, very eye-opening to understanding what can unfold within those partnerships. And yeah, it's just it's weird because it's partnerships, but it's people that I really do know. Like my best friend is from here, you know, and he's in Canada. So it's just a wild experience if you're open to it.
That's amazing. What other questions do you have for these guys, Chuck?
Well, I want to open this up. And again, if you know me, you know I love to stay very positive, very uplifting. But I do want to say, what is it? Joe sort of referenced something there that I think would be important for newbies to know, which is what's the wrong way to go about networking here?
Ooh, that's a good one. I want to hear from both of them about that. Who's
Yeah.
first? Who wants to go first?
Sunshower, do you want to go first? It looks like Joe's pointing at someone. It's like the Brady Bunch here. It's like Carol, Alice.
Go ahead, Sunshower.
What's the wrong way to approach anything, right? Negatively.
Yes.
So you want to stay on the positive side. And, you know, I've already mentioned it's a big thing. You don't just start, quote, pitching. I don't even know how to pitch. I hear the word. It's like, no. You do not want to start yakking away about something that you're trying to get across. It's all about asking questions, listening carefully. And I often say, you know, a person might start rapping about their life or something, and they say something that has some emotion attached to it near the beginning, and then they go on and on and on. Well, I remember that part, and I go back to it, and I go, you mentioned blah, blah, blah. Tell me more about that. Suddenly, they know you're listening and that you care. And that's a way to win friends and influence people.
Great book, by the way. Really great book.
It's all about the emotion. I say it every day. Yes.
Oh, nice. Joe, what do you got to say about that?
That is so funny. She said, win friends and influence people. That is like my favorite book to give to people before when they're on a sales journey. I think it's a great book to read and practice a chapter a day. I love that book. So very cool, Sunshower. I'll add ways not to do it. Jason Integrity has a great course on this. It's called Don't Be a Goofball.
Don't be a goofball.
Don't be a goofball.
Really good goofball.
Too. Yeah.
Go to one of his events and you'll understand it. Jason has a way of putting it to individuals who may or may not quite understand what that means. But to break that down, sales pitches are important to have. They are really important to have. You end up meeting a lot of people. Sometimes you met some of the same people. And if you are just repeating the same thing about your sales pitch every time, you get real old real fast. If you don't have a personality to it, if you haven't branded yourself to whatever it is you're doing, it's a lot harder to develop that relationship in order to move that relationship forward. And so I would just say that understanding that it is important to know what you do and who you do it for, but it's also really important in the fact of that you're not a robot. Nobody wants to be chatting with ChatGPT all day. Well, besides me, but no one wants to be doing, talking to a robot in a one-to-one meeting. That's not fun. And it's the last thing we want to do is connect with that person later on. So when we give in those meetings, when we have gratitude and we listen and we get excited about those other people and what it is they're doing, and we really mean it, right? We really mean it. That's the important thing. That's when you make those really strong connections. And even if that person is not a partnership with you, I can't tell you like how many people, they were not a partner, but they ended up being a friend. And then they referenced me to someone out in California, or they referenced me to someone in New York or whatever, just because I sat and I listened to them and I cared about what they had to say. So understanding that there are a lot of relationships out there, not everything is a chess game. And you shouldn't always be playing chess. Sometimes it's just about the heart part.
I love it. Sunshower. it looks like you're raising your hand. I don't know.
That's right. A really important key to relationship marketing is being able, well, let's say there's a balance. There's a balance. If you're only a giver and you cannot receive, say, a compliment, you're in trouble. So what I've taught myself to do is offer a compliment early in a conversation and see how they receive it. Some people cannot even receive those compliments, right? Oh, it's nothing. Or if you say something about their dress or something, oh, it's just an old rag. That tells me a lot about the person.
Wow.
So the compliment, and do that early on in the conversation.
I love it. I want to say this before I forget it. Joe, you mentioned we're talking about ChatGPT, AI, that kind of thing. Have the two of you got to dig into the whole new part of Alignable's platform, which is the AI networking coach, where you go to your My Network and you can look into other people's, your second degree network, and use that networking coach to do things. I'll start with Joe, since you're the AI guy. What have you learned using that part of the new part of Alignable profile?
The networking thing is super cool. It took me a minute, but then I realized how far you can dive in and see those connections that are Alignable does a great thing where it tells you, hey, this guy has this, or this person has this many connections. This is who they can introduce you to. And then it actually labels the good referral partners for you. It's important that you have your tags set up properly within your profile. But yeah, it's pretty incredible what they've done, because they've essentially taken that Smart Connect technology and then put it into the profile system, which is really incredible because it really does allow you to match up with people that you can build a relationship with if you don't have that relationship with, and they might have access to a whole list of exactly your target market, and they're willing to introduce you. And it's not in a slimy way at all. That's the best part of it. You could really get to know, like, and trust that person.
That's awesome. So have you used it and met some people in your second degree network with anybody that's turned into anything?
I get those every day. I have so many right now, Sue. I swear I'm not even making this up. I just had one today that was one of those. I've reached out to somebody else. One of my network wanted to meet some people, so we've done a couple of those. And then I've gotten referrals that way a lot, because I'm like, who is this person and why? And then I'll see, maybe they do something in the AI space, and it's a great connection where they show up to the AI Mastermind, or something else will come out of it as well. It always does. Unexpectedly.
And for those of you guys who haven't tried it, go to my network page and you can look at your entire network. And as long as you have filled out your profile, and like Joe said, making sure you're tagged, really, really important. And I do a really great training I'm doing tomorrow called How to Identify Your Ideal Customers and Referral Partners. If those tags aren't right, this whole AI cool new feature that Alignable started won't work for you. So make sure you do that. And then you can go to the My Network page. And like Joe said, you can see, I could go to Joe's network and I can see, oh, Joe knows 13 of your ideal customers or referral partners. And then I can look in his network and I can go down and see who those people are and ask him to make an introduction. So Sunshower, have you gotten into it very much, and do you have any success stories using that?
I'm so new, not so much, but I do know that we have an AI coach that we can ask questions of, and it gives us a very, very good answer. I can't give you an example right now because it's been a few weeks. I'll just jump forward and just say again about the showing up part. I decided in September I would like to be an ambassador because I like to do events. Live events. So that's what's in the works for me, and I'll be onboarded on January 21st. Yay.
That's
wonderful.
exciting. Yeah. So yes, if you guys go to Alignable Universe or alignablealliance.com, you can go see where the alliances are and join in person. And I'm excited, Sunshower, you're in Sedona. Actually, I forgot to ask this at the beginning. I kind of want to, we're kind of going all over the place, but one of my favorite things that I do when we do events is instead of those 30-second elevator pitches and like we were talking about early, I was talking to a group the other day and they said, you know, when you do 30-second elevator pictures, you look around, everyone's on their phone. They're not even listening. No one listens to them. So I do something really fun, and I'm saying this because Sunshower wanted to make sure you got to say your fun fact. I always say your name, the name of your business, and a fun fact about yourself. So I'm going to let Sunshower do that because she does have a really good fun fact I know about already. Go ahead.
Oh, about my name? Is that what you mean?
Either that or the contest that you won. Either one.
Okay, well, they're both pretty cool fun facts. 9 months after I got to Sedona, so that was back in '87, you guys. Were any of you just not even on the planet yet? And so
I was here. Yes, I've been in this incarnation for a while. Anyway, go ahead.
So it was like a last minute thought. The city fathers, right? We didn't even have a city when I arrived. It was just the town of Sedona. And then it grew up, became a city, and the city fathers go, oh my God, we don't have an official logo. How should we get one done really fast? Well, they did a statewide contest. And I won the thing.
That's amazing.
And
And what else?
what about your name? What about
You
how
want to
that?
know? Okay. About how I heard it and all that stuff.
Really fast. Really fast.
Okay, really fast. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm moving from Southern California to Sedona, Arizona, and it's lightly raining and there's no clouds in the sky. And I'm like, what's that? I've never seen that before. And I heard, this is the weird part, in my ear, a whisper that said Sunshower. And then 2 months later, it became very obvious that it was a name. So I made it legal.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, you didn't tell me that
That's
part.
who won the graphic design thing when they asked your name. That was it,
Oh,
right?
that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to say who the winner was in the newspaper, and they didn't know a last name for me. So they said, the winner is Sunshower Designs.
That's amazing.
Who's that?
That's awesome. And Joe, what's your fun fact? And then we'll probably open it up for questions unless Chuck has another couple of them. But what's your fun fact really fast?
Fun fact. I know more about T and AI than anybody in the state of South Dakota. Of course, there's only 7 people here, so I don't know.
I love that. Joe was always talking about, I'm from Nebraska, so I totally get that. Not a lot of people out there in South Dakota. So Chuck, what other questions do we have for them before we let people ask questions? We got some
Well,
time.
yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about now, Joe, I wanted to ask you, are you also a group leader too, or is that one of your gigs here?
Yeah, so I have my AI group. I also have the business consultant group, the human design group, the deeper networking group. I forget. There's another one.
Boy, did
the
I
South
ask
Dakota
the right
group.
question. That's good. And you enjoy it, because I think group leaders, by the way, if you apply and are accepted as a group leader or an ambassador during the contest time, you get an extra 20 votes to give out to people too. So, but again, it doesn't have to do with how many groups you're doing, just one group. But so talk to people about the group leader program, because I think that's really an exciting thing.
Yeah, the group leader program is a really exciting thing. I'm a marketing guy and have been for a long time, and so I see it through the lens of a marketer, as a marketer would. And when you're a group leader, you have the opportunity to run your own events, really build your own community on Alignable, and that is top of funnel to middle of funnel. If for those of you that know what that means, is a really great way to start that. There's Alignable is the network in order to grow. It gives you access to these people that are actually looking for what you're doing. I think the strongest piece of advice I could give is, if you come here selling everything to everybody, you are selling nothing to no one. And that is probably the thing I see the most. The more niche down you can get, you know, the same as Tony Robbins and Dean Grazioso, when they're doing their big events, they have a giant target on the wall, and then they go throw a dart at it, and that little tiny dot that you make, that is now your niche. And so I'd say the more niche you can get here, the more success you can have. I think that's going to be true just the way that large language models are affecting human-made algorithms as well. So search is going to change significantly too. But Alignable is an amazing place to grow your authority. So if you have clarity in what you're saying and clarity in what you're doing, oh my gosh, to be able to point to Alignable and say, all these business owners think I'm kind of good at this. It's really powerful. So.
And it gives you an opportunity to show your expertise in a giving way, not a bragging way, a giving way.
Yeah, the gratitude piece of it is probably the biggest part I was lacking when I got here, because I come from the corporate world. And so it was just like a different mentality. And understanding that and picking up on that, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I would give Alignable credit more of the people that have been part of this journey, who have been able to kind of open up my eyes to say, we know that you're smart, dude, but maybe like talk to me like a human being. And not that I wasn't, but I will say it definitely leaned more into that pitch thing, because when you grow up in that corporate world, everybody is a target, everybody is a sale. And when you get here, it's never about that. It's truly just about the relationships. And the sooner you can understand that part of it, the more success you can have. Faster.
Sunshower, do you have any experience? What kind of things have you done in groups that have or tips that you have for people to be in groups?
Groups on Alignable?
Yes.
Well, it's a never-ending learning process. You keep learning from people that just are willing to open their mouths. It's another part about Alignable, is that if you weren't a leader, but you wonder what it's like to be a leader, just say something sometime. And you'll be surprised how many people enjoy what you're saying and actually show appreciation for what you're saying. And then that just sort of fluffs you up a little bit. And you're like, oh, maybe I should try that again.
I love it. You know, going along this, since we're talking about groups, I'm glad you asked that, Chuck. There's a funny story. There's a guy named Tom who used to come to my masterminds all the time, and he would always complain. I'm not getting any customers on Alignable. I don't know, this place sucks. And he was like he was super negative. And everybody started saying, well, what are you doing? I mean, what kind of things are you doing? And it came out that he was going in groups and just telling everybody that he was a business coach. He was awesome. And he was posting his contact information and giving free consultations, which we all know means we're going to try to sell you something. And he was not having any luck at all. And so everybody on the mastermind said, why don't you try these things? So they gave him some ideas. And now he does, he sets up which we'll talk about, daily habits. I definitely want to ask you guys about your daily habits on Alignable. But one of his habits was to go and he had a couple of groups that he loved to help in, and he would just block out time to go answer people's questions, help people, start great conversations. And he said, I don't even talk about business. Like, they don't know I'm a business coach, but so many people have reached out to him because they see how much he's helping them, that he's got a waiting list 10 miles long, and I don't even get to talk to him anymore because he's way too busy. And I've heard that over and over again. I just love that. So
great story.
Yeah. So let's talk about daily habits. What are your daily habits? Do you have you wake up in the morning, or do you have certain times of day? Let's hear some of your daily habits. Sunshower, you go first.
The first part of the day is for me and God. So it's quiet time. It's reflection time. I'm work on my attitude of gratitude list. You know, what are you thankful for in this world? You know, who are you thankful for? There's times when when things are rough, when you might just be grateful that you have all your fingers and toes, you know, that you can actually reach up and comb your hair or something.
But so, on Alignable, what are your daily habits on Alignable?
On Alignable is like certain hours, right? It's good to do things in half-hour chunks. If you end up working longer, okay, but give yourself permission to take a break, go do
Yes.
something else, maybe your business related, or the cat needs brushing or something, and you come back. And you come back and you might finish up what you were doing, or you got a call that relates to what you were just thinking about. It's very cool. Time blocking is a good thing.
Awesome. Do you have any specific things on Alignable that you do every day? Like check your messages? Do you have a goal of connecting with so many people a week? Anything like that?
I know I ought to, but I'm just learning that stuff. So bear with me. I'll get there.
I love it. So Joe, let's hear from you. And let's all learn from some of the things. I know you're on Alignable a lot because I've been up at like midnight and you still answer my question when I message.
Midnight.
Just like Chuck, he's the same way.
Yeah, I think on Alignable, being able to be both logical and then come from a creative side when you're talking about the daily habits. So I like to post something at least 2 to 3 times a week, generally to my main profile, and it might just be a general statement. Sometimes I just want to know an answer to a question that I just want to know, so it's really selfish, but I get really good answers because it's a lot of the people that I know. And I would say, checking messages every day is really great. I get so many messages. It's that every night it is a big deal to go through them and really see which people are the ones, which invitations I want to take. And I think part of that too, Alignable does a good job with, hey, here's the thing you can say to this person. But I'll be honest with you, I love when I get authentic invitations, people that actually were like, hey, I saw you on this thing, or I saw what you did on your profile, or hey, I want to connect with you because you do AI, like a reason behind it and not just the general statement. When I get those ones, I really pay attention to those ones and I really want to connect with those people because they asked a really nuanced, interesting question. And it's not just connecting to connect. We have to keep in mind that when we put in those manifestation habits of whatever it is we're doing, those habits, and that includes Alignable for me, when we put those into place, we're taking specific actions to make sure that we're executing on our dreams. And on Alignable, the craziest synchronicities happen of people reaching out to you. And especially for me, right when I need something, it seems like somebody connects with me about that thing. And that's just it's part of being on the thing. And I'm not on the thing all the time, people. Chuck and Sue made it sound like I live here. I kind of do, but I'm not on it all the time. Although I do love getting the messages and whatnot. So
I love it. Well, I hope you guys all listen to that because he just gave you some really, really, really good advice. And I think hopefully that you guys take away from today, from both of these people, that neither one of you talked about coming on Alignable and just spewing all your advertisements all over the place and talking about your business, right? You're getting to know each other. You're setting yourself apart by becoming a leader. One of the main reasons Sunshower is even on here today, I know she's new on Alignable, but when I said I want to look for people who've had some successes on Alignable and I want to raise your hand if you want to be interviewed, and she's raised both of her hands in the air and we were talking, and that's how she got here. And look what she's on this episode of the Member Success Series. And I want to pass this back over to Chuck for a second because the contest, I want to make sure you tell a little bit more about the contest. When you become a winner on the contest, you get people get PR things, right? Go ahead and talk about.
They do. They get media kits that and guys, I've been doing PR for 33 years and I was in media before that. So, we give you a press release that has everything in it but your name and where you're from, and then whatever else you want to add in. And then I also do coaching sessions every week in Chuck's Contest Club Power Networking Hour. And my motto is no contestant left behind. I want to hear from you if you're having a question, an issue. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. You can post also in the contest group. There is a local biz person of the year contest group where plenty of people answer the questions before I even get to them, because we have a lot of contest fans, which is great to see. And, just get involved, folks. It's really one, especially if you're pretty new, or, maybe you started with Alignable a couple years ago and now you're sort of catching it again. It's so different now. But boy, catch the wave. Catch the wave. I don't know if that's an old Skittles ad or whatever, but I mean, catch the wave of the contest. That's what, because the people who catch the wave of this contest end up coming back to me months later saying, oh my God, there were all these synchronicities, as Joe says, and my business is going up. And I didn't think this worked 6 months ago for me. Or we also have people who have told me, who have ended up in my newsletter stories, because I'm looking for great stories all the time too, like Sue is. They didn't know they were even on Alignable till they won a contest. Okay.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh my God.
So you can do a lot with it, and keep reading the newsletter, because I'm going to have a contest article update, insider updates on how things are going and what's really going on, tips every week.
Yes, and by the way, the Spark newsletter comes every single Sunday. I look forward to it. I keep clicking refresh in my email to see when the newsletter's coming, so you definitely want to keep up on that. And make sure that your email settings, you haven't unsubscribed from anything, so that you get the notifications on those kind of things. So I want to make sure that you two get one more chance to tell everybody your top tips, your best success tips on Alignable. Like, what is your number 1 or 2 tips that you can tell people that will help them become successful on Alignable to grow their network? Who wants to go first? Okay. Oh.
Joe.
Okay, Joe, what's your number 1 success tip?
To those logical people out there, do your profile, fill the whole thing out, and make sure you put your tags in it, and get a link to book a call. For those of you that are a little more right-brained, be yourself.
Love it. That's
Perfect.
number 1. Absolutely. Sunshower, what's your number 1 tip that for everybody?
Well, just keep showing up. Find some groups that align with your ideals, your values, join some groups, meet some people, just be open and receptive, you guys.
Absolutely. I love the be yourself for sure. What else, Chuck? We got 3 more minutes. Does anybody have
I think that's
quick-
it. Do we have any quick questions, or do we, if you want to type something in here right now, we can
Yeah.
squeeze something in, and then we can also send them to your group too, Sue, right?
Yes.
Let's
Does anybody have if you have a question for either one of these 2 people about their success on Alignable, you can raise your hand. Just go to the react button. We only have a couple minutes. Solo, I'm not sure if that's your first name. Go ahead.
Yes, that's my first name.
Awesome. What's your question for these 2 awesome people?
Okay, the question I'm going to ask is, what is the benefit of being the local business person of the year? What is the benefit attached to that? And then 2, how do you become an ambassador if you want to become an ambassador?
So I'll answer the second question first, and then I'm going to let Chuck take the first one. The first one, to become an ambassador, you have to host at least one in-person event in your community every month. There's a lot of other things. Just go to alignablealliance.com, and there's a video there that will tell you how to do it and how to apply to be an ambassador. And you two and Chuck, benefits of being in the contest.
Benefits of being in the contest. Participating in the contest, you get to connect with people more quickly and have more impact than any other time of the year, because everyone's really open to it who's in the contest. Last year we had 309,000 votes, and we're heading to 500,000 this year if we can. On top of that, if you happen to win your local contest, then you will have a badge on your profile that shows that. That gives you a lot of credibility for people who are checking you out, looking for people who do what you do, all of that, and it helps your SEO, and it really helps you stand out in terms of everything. Media coverage, there's a lot that goes into it, and it really helps with credibility too. But there are a bunch of other things.
Awesome. Joe has his hand up.
As a winner, I mean, everything Chuck said, but as a winner, I like to look at it. It depends. If you're a local business, like that badge is really powerful locally, just as the badge, right? There's 8.5 million business owners saying you're one of the best, right? As someone like me, who there's 7 people here, there's a couple more, but there's not very many people here. That badge is a badge of honor for me when I'm out talking to businesses all over the world, particularly in North America and, in Canada and the USA, which is North America.
Right.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Thank you. I appreciate those ones.
I know we're at time, but Jeff, did you have a question? Hi, Jeff. Haven't seen you in a
Hey,
while.
Sue. Yeah, I know it's been crazy busy. It's great seeing you as well. Hope to be a little more active now that we're in the new year back on Alignable. Just asking for a friend. What's the best way to get recommendations from contacts?
Ooh, love it. I'm gonna answer this one if that's okay, because recommendations changed my whole life. When I was first got on Alignable, I moved to a new community. I didn't know anybody. Build relationships and do this. There's 2 things. Number 1, if you guys didn't know you could do this, you can click on my network, and then there's another button underneath, another sub link there that says contacts, and you can actually sync up. It's called the Alignable Contact Finder. You can sync up your email address book with your Alignable account, and then you can ask Alignable to go out to the practically 10 million members on Alignable to see if there's anyone you know already. So you want to connect, and then if they find them, they let you connect with them without using your connection credits. And then they also give you the opportunity to choose the business owners you want to invite to Alignable. Connect with the people you know already, that ones you know, like, and trust, and go write them a recommendation. Go write them a recommendation, because you know what happens? And I think this happens probably, Chuck, with when you vote for someone, you can write a recommendation, and then Alignable sends a note that says, hey, check it out. Sue wrote you this great recommendation.
Right.
Would you like to return the favor? And so that makes people go, well, heck yes, I'm going to return the favor. And that's how I got a lot of my recommendations and votes. So that's my tip.
Excellent.
Anybody have any other ones?
That's really it. You can do a lot with your votes. You can do a lot with recommendations, even if you just stick with your 10 votes and you don't do the upgrade discount I posted in here. You know what? You get 10 votes and 10 chances to give a wow recommendation, and people love it. And all of a sudden you're going to build that relationship, and they're going to write about you too.
Yes, and if you want to, we didn't get a chance to talk about the power of premium because we're way over time right now, but Chuck you did post a link for a discount?
I did for 25% off. You can get 50 extra votes, and you're in the beginning tier of the upgrade, and you can have a great time with it. And boy, you can really learn a lot about what it can do for you during the contest, because this is networking on steroids. And then you carry that on after the contest.
Yes. And then one more thing, make sure that you guys go to Alignable University Group. Alignable University Group. I'll put that in the chat here. That is where you can find any live trainings that I'm doing, and I also just update it with all the newest recordings. I'm doing a couple of great trainings tomorrow. One is what's new on Alignable. You definitely want to attend that. It's tomorrow morning, and then in the afternoon I am doing actually it depends on what time zone you're in, I guess, but the afternoon I'm doing ideal customer and referral partner. So I guess we should probably wrap this up since we're over time, right? Thanks you guys for being here. Everyone, go back to where you registered and connect with these two and set up one-to-one meetings and ask them your questions, because they have a lot of knowledge and experience. Chuck, anything last things you want to talk about?
That's it. This has just been such a great group again. Thank you all for joining us. Tomorrow we do have an official kickoff of the contest that over 700 people have registered for tomorrow
Whoa.
at noon. So hopefully we'll see you there. We'll have 4 other great superstars. Some of them are in the audience right here, coming in to talk to you about all things Alignable, contest tips, do's and don'ts. I'm going to know more about this contest at the end of that. Let's put it this way, because people are going to be so great.
And that's noon Eastern time for those of you who are all over the world. So
Eastern
I'm gonna
time
make sure we have to
tomorrow.
say that. Okay, thanks you two. Thank you, Sunshower. Thank you, Joe. You guys are amazing. Everyone, connect with them. They're awesome. Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks for the
Thanks, everyone.
opportunity,
Thanks to all of you.
Sue and Chuck. See you soon.
Bye,
Joe.
everyone.
Thanks,
Much love.
everyone.
Thank you.